Welcome back to Fight Hour. Cody Safdie here with you, now joined on the line by the Queen Bee of the Scrap Pack. It's Keri and Taylor Melendez. Keri, thanks for joining us on the line today. You're back in action at Bellator Dynamite 2 on June 24th, taking on Sarah Hauer. So first question for you, how your preparations been going so far for this upcoming fight?
Preparations are going accordingly, very well. Gotten in, a good 6 weeks of just focusing on kickboxing, have all my training partners at El Nino Training Center, and I feel good.
Now, being that long time married to Gilbert Melendez, you've been in the spotlight with him. Obviously you're accustomed to the media and the spotlight and the lights and the cameras. But now that you're competing at the highest level, it's kind of been a little bit different. Now you have to attend these press conferences and, you're getting these interviews, having to talk to a company like us as well. How much does it change now that you're kind of thrust into that role instead of just kind of being with him, as a moral support?
It's definitely, I'm still getting used to it. Gilbert has made it look easy, but that was a lie. It's not as easy for me. He does it with grace and he speaks very well. So for me, it just, I hope that I get better in time with all these interviews and all this media, but I'm still getting used to it.
And as a fighter, you're someone who's competed for a decade now. You've been around the sport for a very long time. Would you rather just focus on the fights, or do you like this media appearance stuff? Do you like kind of coming out of your shell a little bit and talking to different outlets and kind of voicing your opinion a little bit?
I think it's great for, a great platform for me to have. It's just still like I'm a little bit shy, so I just need to get used to it and really just embrace it a little bit more. But I'm lucky to have a platform for me to speak my mind and to get women's fighting out there and to represent my gym and my team and my family.
Well, as you mentioned, you're working on the interview side of things, but one thing that you don't need a whole lot more work on is your actual physical fighting skills. You're back in action June 24th, taking on Sarah Hauer. Now, she's a fighter making her professional debut. There's not a whole lot of information or obviously footage available about her. So what are your thoughts on Hauer as an opponent?
Yeah, like you said, there's not that much information on her. I know that she was 5-0 in MMA. I don't know if that's I guess that's amateur, and I think she was 2-1 in kickboxing, so I don't really know that much about her. And that for some of the opponents that she fought that I've seen was in a higher weight class, and I think it was, so I believe she's a bigger girl. I'm not too sure. And I think as somebody who has a lot more MMA fight, she's going to come in with heavy hands and have a lot of cardio and a lot of heart. That's what I expect from her, and I think she's going to be really tough. And, I am not underestimating this woman, Sarah Hauer, coming in.
Now, Sarah Hauer, as you mentioned, known kind of as a bigger opponent. Your last kickboxing match at Bellator Dynamite, the first installment of the event, you weighed in at 120 pounds. Now, obviously, with MMA and kickboxing, they try to keep these 115, 125s. What's this fight's weight at officially?
This fight is going to be at 120. So Bellator is definitely working with me, so they can give me an opportunity to work up to 125. I'm a little bit of a smaller fighter, so, I think it's awesome, and, I'm excited to fight at 120.
Now, last time a lot of people heard from you, you were speaking about the possibility that you wanted to try MMA and that you were targeting an MMA debut sometime midway through 2016. So now we fast forward, we're midway through 2016. We see Keri Melendez on an upcoming card, but once again, it's in the kickboxing realm. Is this something that you and your team discussed and decided, hey, let's keep to kickboxing, or was it simply no MMA fight was presented to you?
My team and we were trying to figure out what would be best. I was trying to stay ready all year. I've been grappling for the first part of this year, hoping to get my MMA debut in. But it just worked out that kickboxing was a better fit right now. And I feel like, by the end of the year, my goal is to make my MMA debut. But right now, I had a good 6-week camp to just focus on kickboxing. I'm excited to go out there and put on a show.
And then speak about the preparations for kickboxing. Obviously, when you're getting ready for a kickboxing match, it's strictly, okay, we're working on the stand-up element. When you're getting ready for an MMA fight, obviously you have to worry about the grappling and the wrestling and all the in-between, so to speak. In this case, you have a kickboxing match. If Bellator was to come, up to you, if you come out of this fight unscathed, and they come to you, say, 3-4 weeks later with an MMA opportunity, would it be, I need a full camp to transition to MMA, or do you feel, hey, I'm ready all year round, I'm always working on my grappling, I'm always improving, I can almost kind of jump in between both sports?
I would just have to assess it after the fight with my team and my husband and my coaches, and whatever they say, I'm down to do. But yes, I've been training MMA all year. I've been doing my grappling, so I've been trying to stay ready. But whatever, when my team, when we get together and we make decisions as a team.
Now, you've been competing for a long time, but you've never really had the luxury of being able to stay on the scene consistently just because of lack of opportunities, lack of, big fights, so to speak. Now you're signed with Bellator. You have a huge platform to showcase your skills, and obviously a platform that they can have kickboxing and MMA. You can kind of, as you mentioned, jump in between. You can take your time. Ideally, with all these fights jumping up for the Bellator organization, in a perfect world, how many times would you like to ideally compete in a single year?
In a perfect world, I'd like to do 2 to 3 times. A year. I was hoping to fight maybe April or May, and it just so happened that this June card worked out. And then I want to get another one in at the end of the year, and then hopefully another one in at the beginning of next year.
Well, the more times that Keri and Taylor Melendez can stay in action, the better for the fans, obviously. If you want to see her back in action, June 24th, Bellator Dynamite 2 in a kickboxing match, taking on Sarah Hauer in her return. Highly anticipated, always fun. And Keri, thank you for taking the time. Best of luck to you.
Thank you for having me.